Simpal Cindy is the main part of the project for us because it's an animatronic character. The movie's set in the future, so it's a future doll.
Well, what's a Simpal?
A life-size doll. A make-believe friend that grows real hair and can do a lot of stuff.
Can't real friends grow real hair and do lots of stuff?
Yeah, but they all have Simpals.
We sat down in meetings with Roger, and initially his idea was to cast a little girl and just make her up to look like a doll. And he's saying, you know, it's in the future, and toys, maybe they're that sophisticated, like completely real. And our take on it was that maybe it should be an animatronic doll, but if we do the most high-end animatronics that we can, maybe that more closely replicates what toys are going to be like 20 or 30 years from now.
Let's be friends. What's your name? Will you be my mommy?
I think creating more human-based characters has its own set of difficulties that are completely separate from creating the creature kind of effects. Because we're used to looking at human beings every day, we intimately know those in a very deep psychological way. You know if the eyes of a fake head are wrong because it doesn't look like any person that you've seen before. Whereas if we're doing a big, slimy alien creature who's ever seen anything like that, you can liken it perhaps to insects or sea creatures or so on, but you do have a lot more license.
We got photographs of a little girl that Roger liked for a look, and we used her as a reference, and we created the doll. And it was basically, you know, again, the standard forms of coming up with the look, creating that sculpture in clay and molding it and coming up with a silicone skin, and then mechanizing it. The big problem here was that it had to be able to lip sync. It had to be able to speak back to dialogue that had been recorded, and it had to be done in probably the shortest build time we've ever had for an articulated head of this caliber. Also, it's very tiny. It's this big. Now we've done full-size human heads, which are a little bit bigger, and we put a lot of mechanisms into them. But this was probably 2/3 that size, and still had to have as much movement.
What's your name?
Just, can you see that I'm talking quiet? Head home to my house with a bunch of flowers and a good excuse, otherwise Natalie's gonna kill you.
I can sing songs. Would you like to sing with me?
Excuse me, do you know how to turn this thing
I
off?
can play
My
games.
niece has one. Say, go to sleep, Cindy.
I can sing
Go
songs.
to sleep, Cindy.
Would you like to sing with me?
Take a piece of me, the piece that you can't see.
So I'm working with Christine right now in the fabricating department. Christine is in charge of taking all the bodies of the Simpal Cindy, and basically over top of the metal armature that's been built, she's creating all of the body forms that flesh her out and make her look real. The idea here was to come up with a jointed body that looks like a living girl, but it's a doll. We wanted to make sure we didn't have things where joints extend in the wrong direction. And also when they bend, you know, every time you bend, you have a hard point on your elbow or your knee. Christine has gone in and created all of those on the knees, on the arms, so that when this happens, even through the clothing, you get some idea that there's something a little more realistic than just a rag doll inside. We've also got a number of different heads. This is actually a stunt head. This one's not articulated, so for any of the shots where she's being carried around or thrown around in the back of a truck, we'll use this one, and we'll save the hero one, which has all the intricate animatronics inside. There's also a scene where she gets blasted and her neck explodes and her head flies up in the air, so we've also made this lightweight copy, again, out of the same silicone material, and this will be set on a neck that's rigged to blow up, and we'll do 5 or 6 takes of this blowing off in the back of the car.
I have a boo-boo.
So I'm here with Dave and the mechanical team, and we're looking at the Simpal Cindy mechanical head. And this is really the guts of everything about Simpal Cindy. It's the articulated face, it's the lip sync, it's the eyes that move, and everything here is radio control. It's a very tiny package, and on top of the phenomenally short build schedule, it's also a very small thing to have to deal with. Dave has got, how many servos inside, Dave?
About 23 servos.
So 23, so it's basically a full function head at about 1/3 normal size.
Well, we always go for the eye placement first to make sure that that's sitting correctly into the skin. Then for the jaw movement, we start working with the lips because these are the areas that you're concentrating mostly on, even though it's the entire face. The biggest challenge is just getting all the servos to fit inside a head the size of a small girl. We have multiple expressions through the brows right here. They're all individual, so you get virtually any expression that you need, either angry, are really happy. There's smile tabs on here to pull the skin just so she has a nice girly-ish smile. You have the lip functions where you could make most of the vowel sounds that you'll need in a sentence. The most troublesome one is usually the ooh. Try to get a good O thing without making her look like a monkey.
Right now we have about 3 weeks into it from the first servo being mounted to this point. At this point there's still a lot of tying up that needs to be done from one servo to the next, making sure all the cables have been tight, all the solder joints are good. So there's still a good another day in just final touches, making sure that everything is going to work for us when we get to set.
Well, she's quieter than the average person. This freaks me out though when she starts moving. When I'm working on her, knowing she's not alive and she's moving. So whoever's doing that, I don't know where they are, but if they could make her stay still, that would be great.
I am raring to go. I am so ready. Who's ready to do these? They have eyeballs and cheeks. How's that? Okay, good.
All right, once again, let's reset the doll and pictures up. All right, ready. And roll sound, please.
I'm Simpal Cindy. What's your name? Let's be friends. What's your name? I can sing songs. Would you like to sing with me? I can play games. Would you like to play with me? I can sing songs. Would you like to sing with me?
And cut.